Hello, I'm Andrew Shepard, and with me today is Rohit Juneja. Welcome.
Hi, how are you?
We are going to be talking about the law of attraction today and breaking it down. There are a lot of people that I meet these days who are talking about the law of attraction, and they're basically appropriating um, this spiritual concept to get what they want humanly in this world. I want to be a millionaire. I want this. I want that. And they are telling God or the universe or the divine consciousness what they want, and they believe that through the law of attraction they want.
Yeah, it's an age-old story. People have been playing God for a fool.
Kind of like prayer. I mean, if you've got an omniscient God and you're saying, "Hey God, I'm sure you have been too busy or you're just not aware, but I want these things. So
Right.
can you just change your plan and adjust the reality around me so that it fits what I want? Thanks."
Right. So the first thing I'd like to say to people like that is that the prayer or the asking or the all of that is actually a distrust in the universe. It's actually saying, I don't buy your agenda. I don't buy into your will. I don't buy into this whole spirituality. I'm here to enjoy, to have a great time, to fulfill my desires, to be a millionaire, to have it all, you know, yeah, to have it all. And okay, I mean, it's a very titillating idea. It's a very interesting take. But there's two objections I have to that. A, is God or the universe sitting there just to fulfill your desires? Like, does it have nothing better to do? Is that really why you came here? Is that the whole point of existence? Now, that's the first question. The second question I have is, let's say you do get it all. Let's take a look at the people who have it all. Are they really happy? Are they really satisfied? Are they ever content? Have they really got what they're looking for? Have they reached the end of the rainbow? Are they really fulfilled? I am a therapist. I get lots of rich people coming to me. And I'll tell you the answer to the second question for sure. They're not. They come to me with exactly that stuff. What is it? I've got everything, but I'm not happy. I've got the woman of my dreams, but I don't feel fulfilled. I've got the man, who's got everything, and I still feel empty inside. Yeah, maybe you want to take a look at all where you're headed and what you're asking the universe or God to do for you. And really, should God or the universe be doing that for you? If it was a responsible, caring universe, would it support you in your desire or your dream of self-destruction?
This this reminds me so much of just the concept of the mind and the heart and how they seem to be sometimes working in opposition. Sounds like so many people, when they fully commit to the mind and what the mind and the ego together desire, and they pursue that with abandon, they get it often. But then they feel lost inside, like their real internal compass has been left behind. And then they realize that what they got was sand and the gold they left behind decades earlier.
Yeah, and that's really the point, this whole, because what has brought us down this path, where we are today as a world, as a society, is this chasing after more and more and more, the American dream, everybody wanting to have that dream, everybody wanting to fulfill and get everything that they can possibly imagine. Well, you know what that means is that means we end up producing a lot more, we end up consuming a lot more, we end up working a lot more, we end up then feeling used and drained, and then now we got to go to drugs, and now we've got to go out and travel and have a vacation, now we've got to go out, go shopping, and the end result is this endless consumerism. And where that's led us to right now is a huge amount of chaos in the world today, where everybody wants to have this and is all clamoring for this. And so you have the haves and the have-nots, and you have the third world and the first world, and you have everybody wanting to join the bandwagon somehow or other to get it all. But it's leading us to self-destruct as a planet, as economies, and as people. We're not getting what we're really looking for, because what we're looking for cannot be got in the outside world, no matter how much you get, no matter what you get, no matter who you get. What you're looking for cannot be found in matter, because happiness does not come out of stuff. Happiness does not come out of achievement or becoming something or having a great job or being the CEO of the company or having the ideal partner. None of this stuff you're trying to manifest will give you what you're really looking for, which is happiness, which is peace, which is love, which is freedom. These things are an inside job. They're in here, not out there. And I'm not just saying this. I'm not just talking out of some book. I'm speaking from experience. This has been my life journey. This has been what I have deeply pursued to find real happiness. Not this fleeting happiness that you get. You buy this new car, you feel happy for a moment, for a few days, and then you know what? That new car is now an old car. That new TV is an old TV. Now you're out chasing the next thing. So I've been there, I've done that, and I found it didn't work. It didn't give me what I was looking for. And ultimately, I had to stop and say, enough. You know, what's the real thing? Where does it lie? And I found what lies within. I can tell you that there's nothing greater than what's right here, and it's free, and it's abundant, and it's priceless, and unlimited. You have unlimited access to the greatest wealth of all. And no law of attraction, no prayer, no process that you have will give you that from the outside. Nothing will give it to you unless you go to the inside. But for a moment, Andrew, let's take on the law of attraction. Let's take on prayer.
Yeah.
What those are trying to do.
Why are people taking this, this supposedly spiritual law of attraction, supposedly a spiritual practice, and they're appropriating it for the capitalistic dream of getting what they want?
Or the fairy tale dream of getting the partner that they want. Right. You know, the Cinderella, Snow White, Prince, a knight in shining armor is going to come and save me and do all this stuff.
It's essentially an egoic hijacking of quote-unquote spiritual metaphysics.
Egoic hijacking. I love it. That's a good one. Yes.
If you haven't dealt with the ego early on in your spiritual practice, it tends to stay with you and continue to control everything that you then pick up. So you go into spirituality, you go into metaphysics with the ego still fully engaged, fully in charge, and it's going to take and pollute and distort and invert every spiritual tool you pick up. It's going to use it for what it wants. That's rather right. than what your divine essence wants.
Yeah. Let's start off by saying it's not that the law of attraction is untrue. It's not that by being able to put out that energy you will get what you want. Perhaps you will. Perhaps if you do it just right, you will. However, this is not a spiritual practice. This is just learning the ways of the universe. Yes, you're graduating from I'm going to work hard and get what I want to I'm going to set an intention and I'm going to get what I want. But you're essentially on the same path as every other person out there who you're judging and criticizing and calling a materialist and thinking you're so high and evolved spiritual person. Well, let's get that part out of the picture. There's nothing spiritual about this. You've just learned a better technique. Okay, fair enough. No harm in doing that. You've learned a little bit about the laws of the universe, the laws of the world. Great. Is this spiritual? And will this give you what you really want? And is this the real thing? This is just an egoic pipe dream. And let's call a spade a spade. Let's look at what...
Does it really work? I mean, does the law of attraction really work when it's completely egoically focused.
You know, the basic principle in the law of attraction is that whatever it is that you want to attract to yourself, you need to vibrate at the frequency of that, firstly. And secondly, you need to be able to let it go. Now, both of these are very interesting practices, because to vibrate at the frequency of that which you desire means that you have to literally shift your consciousness up to that level. You cannot be at the level of needing wealth, for example, or pay my bills, you know, and that'll make me happy. That's not going to draw it to you. You have got to actually feel abundant here and now, like you're a wealthy person, like you've got it all. You've got everything that you possibly need.
Right. The law of attraction is not positive thinking, and it is not wishful thinking. It is not asking for something. It is owning it within.
It is owning it within. Thank you, Andrew. That's brilliant. And you cannot own it within unless, you know, because your whole system is based on, if I don't have it outside, then how can I feel it inside? So what I see as a much truer path is where you begin to find everything you're looking for inside. The wealth, the happiness, the peace, everything you really want. Because even out of wealth, what do you want? Ultimately, you want happiness. Even out of that ideal partner, what do you want? Happiness. Ultimately, what do you want with your happiness? Contentment. Ultimately, what do you want with all of that? Feel good. And you know what? You can do that right here, right now, without anything. Now, the interesting part is that once you're feeling all of that, you're feeling abundant no matter how much you have, you're feeling happy no matter what situation you're in, then you will be able to attract everything into your life. It will just come to you. And until then, you're still faking it, which is why most people who practice the law of attraction don't really get what they want. All the people who are talking about the law of attraction, well, I wouldn't say all, but most of them are really having a tough time financially and in their love life and in every area. They think they've got this great tool, but it isn't taking them anywhere. If you really did a study, and I come across a lot of people on the spiritual path, they're broke. Let's face it.
Well, that's why they're on the spiritual path, right? Because everything else, all the human tools that they were using before have now failed, and so they're desperate. They're like, oh, I'll try anything, even spirituality. And so they're clinging to this law of attraction. Please help me. But ultimately, they're still in exactly the same mindset. They may have grabbed something that may be a better tool, but they're still incorrectly holding it. They're not using it the way it's intended.
So the correct method for holding it, and I think it's really important to come to this place, but before we even go there, I think it's also important to look at the old tools we had. For example, prayer. Prayer was another such method. Right? We asked God to give us what we want, and what was the result most of the time? We didn't get it. We kept believing that if we keep asking, and if we ask enough, and if we ask long enough, and if we cry loud enough, and we keep doing it, you know, like stubbornly, somehow maybe somebody will give us what we want. That didn't work too well.
God, are you listening? Come on, God, listen up. You're not listening to me.
I love that movie, Bruce Almighty. I don't know if you saw it. Where God's there with all these millions and millions and millions of prayers going completely crazy and berserk. Hit the delete button. I mean, truly, what would you do if you were God, you know? Jeez, get over this whole thing.
I think if I were God, I would plan some sort of a system that takes care of itself so that I don't have to intervene every time somebody calls asking for help.
That's why this whole law of attraction thing came into place, as people began to look for a better idea, and then they found a better idea, except that better idea had a catch-22 within it. They didn't quite figure that out. Catch-22 of it all was to get you to find the reality, the truth, the thing that is always going to be so. The truth is this, that if you could find the wealth, the abundance that you are looking for within yourself, you will have arrived at the place where spirituality wanted to get you, where God wanted to get you, where this whole universe was created to get you, was to discover, who am I? Was to discover the truth about yourself, the beauty that is within yourself, the abundance that lies within you, the wealth, the greatness, the incredibleness of who you are. And once you actually find that, the interesting part is you really don't give a damn whether you get the rest or you don't get the rest, because now you've got something that nobody can take away from you. You've got something that even death cannot take away from you. Nothing on earth can take it away from you. And your situation doesn't matter anymore. Whether you have a lot or you don't have a lot doesn't matter anymore. This is real. This is absolutely real. I have found it. I live it. I believe it. I teach it. Because this is what we were here to do. We were here to discover ourselves, to go through this whole mind warp, to go through this whole, world of trial and error and ups and downs and everything, to find that part of us that is indestructible, that is abundant within. We came here, we're like these people who go to Mars, and when they go to Mars, they go to some other planet, they go with everything, all the supplies they need, the air, the oxygen, the food, and everything that they possibly need, they've come with there in their little spaceship. But we are that spaceship. This body, mind, organism, this is our spaceship, right? Our space suit, if you want to call it that. And it comes with everything that we would possibly be needing. Everything we've been looking for is right here. And finding that is the abundance, is the key to the law. Then the law of attraction can kick in, but then it won't even matter. The day it doesn't matter is the day you can have it all. The day that, it doesn't mean any difference. You're a millionaire or you're living out on the street, and it doesn't matter. Is the day you have become the richest person on earth. That, my friends, is the point of life.
So the desire is almost not worth having in the first place. I mean, clinging to the desire and thinking this desire is going to get me what I want is kind of the metaphysical opposite of what's really going on. Finding a sense of completeness, a sense of wholeness without any desire is more likely to get you what you supposedly want.
Andrew, this question has been around a long time. I mean, from the time of Buddha and Mahavir and many of the great spiritual teachers, they have been exploring this idea of desire. What I find is desire is a motivational tool. So desire is very powerful if you learn to use it. If you use desire to try and get the things that you want, and with the false belief that these things are going to make me happy and make me fulfilled, then desire will become a treadmill. It will become like, that hamster's wheel. It will spin you around and around and around, taking you nowhere. If, however, you use that impetus to say, okay, then what? If this is not it, then what? If this is not it, then what? If this is not it, then what? If you use desire like a laser beam to get to what is really behind everything, and to find out where can I get the true satisfaction of my desire, then it can be a tool to help you get there. So I really see it as a useful tool if used with wisdom. And once you have found the inner wealth, that is really what we're here looking for, I believe is what we're here looking for. Then you say, well, now what do I do with desire? Because I still have desire. And desire now becomes a plaything in your hands. Desire now becomes a tool with which to celebrate the world, to celebrate the universe, to celebrate existence. Not with some false notion that by fulfilling my desires I will feel satisfied and happy and but I will find true love or whatever it is. But my desire the core of my desire has already been met. I am now here celebrating the Creator, the existence, and myself, and you, and all of us. Our life no longer becomes a struggle. Our life becomes a celebration. We are not here anymore trying to survive and get more and more and more and pay our bills, but rather we are here learning how to enjoy every single moment with whatever we have. Whether it's more or less, it really doesn't matter.
And so the desire, the more mature desire tends to be about a desire for experience and expression rather than a desire for having or getting anything.
Yes, that's a great way of putting it. For experience, for expression, for celebration, for because everything that we come across in this world, whether it is the food we eat, the air we breathe, the sunshine, whether it is a human body, our own or that of another, really these are all energetic things. And from these energies, we actually get what we're looking for. These energies are actually all that we need. This energy fulfills us. The energy we get when we breathe, or when we, are in sunshine, or when we eat something, or we hug someone, or for that matter, make love, whatever it is. But the point is that that's really what we're looking for is energies, and energies cannot be really bought. And even if you buy them, it's not that getting a fancier something's going to give me a better high or that feeling of satisfaction that I want. No, it has nothing to do with how fancy it is, how much it is, what restaurant it's in. It has nothing to do with that. In fact, those are things that take us further and further away. The more natural something is, the more it is part of just nature. The air you breathe, that's the richest thing we have. That's the greatest wealth around us. It's just the air we breathe. What to say of the sunshine? And these are full of energy. And when they energize us, we begin to feel alive in ways that nothing else could make us feel alive. And the same with the attention or the presence of a person, or the love of a person. It doesn't matter who that is. It could be your dog. It could be your cat. It could be your neighbor. It could be your friend. It really doesn't matter. The point is that what we're looking for is pretty much free. The best things in life are free, right? That's what they used to say. And that's the truth. So our desires are just ways for us to live more fully and more completely. That's all they're there for.
So what is a healthy version of prayer then, other than asking God to give you physical, material, human stuff or events or occurrences?
Yeah, I've always loved the idea of prayer. The greatest prayer of all is gratitude, and giving thanks for everything you have, no matter how little or no matter how much. Whatever you have is fantastic. To really see that, to really appreciate that, to really get that. That wherever I am, whatever I have, no matter how much or how little, it is tremendous. Just being alive, that is tremendous. On the other hand, if you have a lot, that's great too. Nothing is good or bad. What was Shakespeare said? There's
Yeah, nothing. There is nothing either good nor bad, but thinking makes it so.
Makes it so, right? So it is only our thinking that makes it good or bad, desirable or undesirable. Desire whatever you have. Enjoy whatever you have. Give gratitude for whatever you have, and you will be in bliss. There is no need for misery or suffering. This is all mind-made.
So what's the difference then now with the law of attraction between between going after what you think you want and letting go or surrendering to what the divine actually wants for you?
Yes, I think to me, that's really the key. It's instead of going on and on about my will, I am going to impose my will upon the divine, and the divine is going to, or God or whatever, is going to give me what I want, or the universe is going to give me what I want. It's imposing my will upon thy will. And every spiritual teacher of the past has taught us the most simple, basic truth. Thy will be done. That is, that the will of the divine is far more powerful than our will. The desire of the divine is far more powerful than anything we could desire. The universe is far wiser and more competent and more capable of guiding us than we will ever be. Whereas, I think I heard Oprah say this, where she said, God dreamed a bigger dream for you than you can ever dream for yourself. If you would trust that, you will know that that is the greatest prayer of all. The greatest prayer of all, you start with gratitude, but then you come to surrender. Surrender is not giving up, it is not settling, it is not going for less. It is simply knowing that whatever you have given me is perfect, is absolutely incredible, and I am in the deepest gratitude for it. Imagine having a child and your child is always cribbing. Daddy, give me this. Daddy, give me that. Daddy, why can't I have more? Why can't I have what so and so? What a pain being with such a kid is. But imagine being with a kid who says, Dad, thank you so much. You are the best dad on earth. You're the one that, you make me feel so good. Everything you have, we have the nicest house, we have the nicest things, we have the most beautiful, that child is just sincerely grateful for everything that you have. He doesn't not even bother about what others have, just grateful for what you have and what you have given, and so appreciative of that. Tell me, what kind of relationship would you have with this child versus that constantly nagging child? Who would be the one that would be more endearing to you? And then think of your relationship with the universe. What kind of, are you the nagging child, or are you the child who is grateful? And what do you think would create a better relationship?
So people have human needs, Rohit. People need to survive. Sometimes people are struggling. It seems not just mentally stressful, which maybe could be handled spiritually, but physically stressful, in which they're feel like they're in danger of starving, or their family is suffering. How do they deal with this? They feel like they're at the end of their rope. They're desperate for something. They'll grab whatever they can use. If it's the law of attraction that works, they'll use it. But how do these people surrender to the spiritual path when they're not even meeting their physical needs?
So Andrew, I'm going to tell you a little story of my own life, which is where I had big dreams and I was having a tough time in life, where things weren't working out. My business was crumbling. Things were going from bad to worse. The economy had gotten bad, and I think we all know this story. But I was at a situation where I was at my wit's end, and I had been going on like, hey, God, universe, wherever you are, like, just give me a bunch of money, and then I'm ready to do whatever it is you want me to do. I mean, don't keep me in this place. This is ridiculous. I can't live like this, and whatever. I had different ways I was trying to negotiate and bargain and plead and everything possible. And one day I said, I trust you. I give up. I give up fighting and struggling and trying to get more. I'm going to take a different path. I'm going to trust you. I'm going to trust that whatever it is that is best for me is exactly what will happen. I'm going to trust that you know better than I do. I'm going to trust that you will take care of me in whichever way you see best. From here on, if that means that I need to live out on the street as a homeless person, or if I need to live in poverty, or if I need to live in a palace, or if I need to live with tons of money, I trust you will see what is best for my spiritual growth, for my path. I put myself in your hands. Andrew, I can't tell you how much peace that gave me, how much the struggle for survival went away, how much and how deeply that impacted me because it came from the heart. It didn't come from something out of my head. It came sincerely from the heart. I kept that with me always. It has been like a jewel that I keep with me, always close to my heart. This deep trust in the universe. And because I faced the bottom line, the deepest fear, which is that I could be homeless, I could be out on the street, And I said, that's good, that's fine too. If that's how you want me to be, you got it. complete and utter acceptance of whatever you believe is best for me. And you know what? It never got there. I was always taken care of. Always. I had the best of things. I may not be rich, I may not be famous, I may not be any of those things, but I always have plenty. I always have enough. Sometimes I don't know how the next, bills are going to get paid, but they do. Somehow or other, the money comes in. Somehow or other, everything works out. If I would sit there with my head, I would be anxious, I would be worried, I would be fearful, even till today. And today is about 15 years later. But somehow it all works out. Somehow miraculous. If you want to live in a world of miracles, try this out. There is nothing more miraculous than deep trust in the universe, in God, in deep surrender, and watching the miracles occur last minute. Suddenly something goes on, something happens. Right when you think, nothing's possible, the impossible becomes possible. Live in a completely miraculous world, but you cannot cheat. You cannot fake it. You cannot pretend. This has to be real. And you will be tested, and you will be put on the spot. So if you're saying, well, but I have this bills and so on, I would recommend one thing. If you're going to follow a path of surrender, simplify your life to whatever it is that's actually showing up. Right? Simplify and bring it down to the level of what's actually showing up, and then let yourself be guided as to how to move forward. Surrender is a very deep path of spirituality. It works brilliantly. The intention of that is not about trying to make you rich and famous. The intention of that is to bring you closer to the divine, to deepen your spirituality, to give you such inner power and strength that nothing else on earth could have done that for you. But it's a path of its own. It's a completely incredible spiritual path, the path of surrender.
Rohit, thank you so much. I feel like this is so important that we find the inner gold rather than constantly reaching for this outward metaphor, which really is all it is. I mean, having $1 million, having $1 billion is just an outward metaphor for inner richness, which is all anyone can really hold on to.
You want to share anything of your own journey on this, or what has been meaningful for you in the things I've said, or in your own path? Any particular insights you've had?
I guess I want to say that capitalism is a useful economic system at times, but as far as a spiritual practice, capitalism is a rat race. It is a way to harness your desire for materialistic purposes, and that doesn't serve us. I mean, the right answer to capitalism right now for the spiritual seeker would be to deny it, to say, I don't need any of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's a bad recipe for an economy, but it's a better recipe for a spiritual journey. And frankly, our economy can't last in the trajectory it's at. We cannot continue to increase spending and expenditures on this needless stuff. There's too much of it already. It's floating as a massive island the size of Texas in the Pacific Ocean. We don't need all the stuff. It's not doing us any good. This desire that has been created, this emptiness that feels like we need to fill it up. You just need to sit with that emptiness. Just observe it, because it's not going to be filled up by that stuff. You can't get it in there.
Andrew, you just said something so powerful. That emptiness that we feel is the key to greatness. The emptiness we feel inside, as you said rightly, if you sit with it, if you allow the will, if you allow yourself to just go deeper into it, more fearlessly into it, you will find that the emptiness dissolves, and hidden behind that is the treasure you've been looking for. The emptiness was just a way to keep you out. And if you pursue it, you will find fullness. Behind emptiness lies fullness. That's the incredible secret behind it. Just like behind your fears lies fearlessness. When you confront your fears, behind that seeming dragon of fear lies incredible adventure, lies incredible love, lies all the things you desire. So, as far as desire is concerned, I'm going to bring up another thing too. While I completely agree with you, Andrew, about the sustainability of this world in which it's all about getting, having, doing, achieving, becoming, and I get the complete futility of that. I'm also going to want to point out a little word of caution here. It's not about doing the opposite either. It's not about having nothing. It's not about necessarily living in the forest or the jungle or on the street. While I did talk about that, that's not what I'm recommending. I'm simply saying we need to simplify all of our desires, really come down to the level of what it is that is actually occurring in our lives. If what is occurring in your life is that you have a ton of money, great. But please know that that is not the point of life or of your existence. Having more or having less is not the point. Point really is. So it's just not about giving up the world. It's not about becoming a monk. It's not about, giving up the world and going and living in some ashram or commune or whatever else it is. Not at all. Let's be clear about that as well. It's neither about having nor not having, or doing or not doing. It's really about going within and finding the treasure house that lies within all of us. This is the place we need to focus in on. Because even if you give up the world, you will still carry this false notion with you that somehow you can get what you want from outside. And you cannot replace that notion unless you find the other side. Until you discover it, experience it, it will not be real for you. So you've got to go inside and find it. And if you don't know, seek someone who will help you go there. Meditation is a great process. Find a spiritual guide or a teacher who will take you there, or a counselor who will help you get to that place. Because ultimately, until you find the real thing, you will keep holding on to the false thing. And there is no substitute, there is no shortcut. So it's not about giving up, and it's not about having, it's about finding the truth, the reality, the thing that we've been looking for within ourselves.
Thank you, Rohit.
Thank you, Andrew, for the opportunity to share.
And thank you for joining us, everybody.